Good evening, everybody. Welcome to yoga. I hope everybody is staying warm and cozy tonight. And we are going to begin, like we often do, on our backs. But first, just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Mimi, and I've been teaching for Thunder Mist for a while. And I'm really excited that we get to offer these classes for free to folks. So if you like this class, feel free to head on over to the Thunder Mist Facebook page or YouTube channel, and you could watch it over and over again if you'd like. But let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and come on to our backs. And as you come to your back, go ahead and keep your knees bent. And I didn't say this to start. So if you've got yoga blocks, I would go ahead and grab them. And if you don't have yoga blocks, you might want to grab a couple of books, so some nice thick hardy books, or anything else that you could prop your hands up on. That is going to be useful in this practice tonight. And then once you've got that in order, just come onto your back. And other than blocks or something else to place your hands on, you really don't need much of anything else. So just begin the process of settling in. And feeling the back of your body relaxing onto the floor. And if you've had a really busy or full day, be patient with yourself. Sometimes it takes a while to kind of untangle yourself from whatever was going on during your day and really arrive. But hopefully, breath by breath, you begin to feel yourself landing on your yoga mat, prepared for practice, and committed to not letting anything else going on in your life stand in the way. We're going to practice doing a breathing technique to bring about some balance in the body and the mind. So the next time you exhale, go ahead and exhale completely so that you feel empty of breath. And then as you inhale, begin to count. And just see how long it takes you until the point where you feel full. And then hold your breath in for just a moment. And then exhale, your natural exhale, and count and see how long it takes you to get to the point where you feel empty of breath. And then pause. And now, as you do that, see if you can pick a number and bring your breath into balance. So let's say it's 4. So you would inhale for 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then pause and hold the breath in for a moment. And then exhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1, and hold the breath out for a moment. And then taking the breath in once again, you'll inhale 1, 2, 3, and 4, and pause. And then exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. And continue like that. So maybe 4 isn't your number, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 3. And just working to bring yourself to an even inhale and even exhale. Again, working towards this state of balance. And that's really a lot of what yoga is about. So we balance out our physical form. So we stretch in the front and we stretch to the back, and then we stretch to the right and the left and the um, yeah. So left, right, side, side. So we balance out the body by paying equal attention in all directions. And then we balance out the connection between our body and our heart and our mind. So a lot of times we spend way too much time in our heads and not enough time in our bodies. So it's trying to bring balance there as well. And so taking just a few more rounds of this very simple breath. And then you can stop counting your breath. Maybe you still are vaguely aware of trying to make it even, but not trying so hard anymore. And just go ahead and bring your arms by your side and have your palms face down. Good. When you inhale, we're going to start really small and subtle tonight. You're just going to sweep your arms to the floor behind you, opening up. And then as you exhale, you'll lower your arms down by your side. And then inhale, sweep your arms to the floor behind you. And exhale, lower your arms down by your side. And then just keep doing that. So find your own rhythm, find your own pace. And just a few more times. And then the next time you sweep your arms overhead, see if you can keep them there. And if that bothers your shoulder at all, maybe you bend in the elbows some so that you take a slightly softer stance to the arms. And then just notice how this feels in the rib cage. A little extra emphasis or awareness there. Taking a few breaths. And then just simply tuck your hands behind your head and let your elbows drop out to the side. And staying rooted from the hips to the feet, so the lower half of the body stays perfectly still. And we're just going to curve the upper body to the right. So it's beginning to form like a C shape in the spine. And then hang out like that for a few breaths. So feel the opening along the left-hand side of the body. Notice how this shift in shape changes the breath, changes what you feel. And then come on back through the center and pause. And we'll head on over to the other side. So just curving the body, letting the elbows drop back, feeling along that right hand side of your rib cage this time. Linger here, a few more breaths. And then then come right back to the center. Good. We're going to go ahead and relax our arms down by our side again. Have your heels in pretty close to your fingertips, feet about hips width distance apart. And just begin to pay attention to your lower back. So maybe noticing a bit of curvature underneath the lumbar spine or the lowest part of your spine. And what we're going to do is engage our abdominal muscles and tip our pelvis backwards so that you feel your lower back press to the floor. Go ahead and try that. And then we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to roll our pelvis forward, tipping it forward so that you get a really big curve in your lower back. And then exhale, seal your lower back to the floor, curl your tailbone a little up. And then inhale, tilt your pelvis forward and get really curvy in the lower back. And go back and forth like that a few times. Now inhale and you press, or exhale and you press down. Inhale and you tilt forward. So again, starting with much smaller, subtler movements tonight. We'll get into some bigger stuff soon. And then relax your belly, relax your lower back. Just take a couple breaths. All right, we're going to build on that a little bit. So you're going to inhale and tilt your pelvis forward. Feel that curvature in the lower spine. And then exhale and tilt your pelvis back. Engage your abdominal muscles. Push into your feet and lift up into a little mini bridge pose. And then lower down. And tilt your pelvis forward. So inhale and gain curvature in your lower back. And then exhale, tilt the pelvis back, press into your feet, and lift up through the front of the body. And just continue like that. So landing down on the floor and tilting the pelvis forward, rocking the pelvis backwards, and then lifting up through the front of the body. Do it 2 more times. Just exploring range of movement and what the body can do. And after that second time, lower all the way to the floor. And then draw your knees in towards your belly. Just squeeze them in and rock a little bit side to side. You might even hold on to the fronts of your knees and just kind of steer your legs around in circles so that you feel like you're massaging your lower back. Good. And then you're going to roll yourself up to the side and we're going to come into a tabletop. I'm going to take off a few things. It's pretty chilly in my apartment. So coming into a tabletop, and we're just going to continue to play and open up the spine. So tilting the pelvis forward, opening up heart, chest, and throat in a cow pose. And then exhaling and rounding up behind the heart for a cat pose. Inhaling and tipping the pelvis forward. So this is pretty similar to what we were doing on our backs. And then exhale and round. Keep it up. Inhaling and exhaling, opening front body and alternately opening back body. few more rounds. Good. And then level off the spine. You can walk your shins a little bit closer in towards one another. And you're going to go ahead and send your left leg back in the air. And balance off the pelvis. Reach through the crown of the head. And then reach the right arm forward. Hold for a couple breaths here. One more moment. And then lower your hand down. Lower the ball of your foot to the floor. Push through your heel. And then simply pulse back and forth a couple of times. Just lengthening the back of the leg. A few moments. Good. And then rooting into your left hand, you're going to bring your right hand to your hip, and you're going to begin to rotate the upper body to the right. If you'd like, that hand can stay on your hip, or you might reach it up towards the ceiling. You can even wrap it around your back if you'd like. One more breath. Good. And then unwind the torso, placing both hands on the floor. You're going to push through that left foot and then sneak your right foot back to join. So holding in a plank for a couple of breaths. You can always drop your knees if you need to. And then we're going to send our hips back and walk our hands all the way back towards our feet. And then just simply roll yourself up. Good. And then once you get to the top, just going to make sure that your feet are solidly planted so that you feel a firm connection to the floor. And you're going to inhale. Roll your shoulders back and open up through the heart. And then exhale, soften your knees and just roll down over your thighs. And then again, inhale. Roll yourself up. Roll the shoulders back and open up heart and chest and throat. And exhale. Sit your hips back and roll your way down. And then just do it a couple more times. Matching your movement with your breath. And again, thinking of that goal of balancing out the body. So we pay attention to the front and the back. Good. And then this time when you roll yourself down, plant your hands on the floor, and you're going to crawl yourself forward. So crawling yourself forward to a high plank, hold, couple of breaths. And then tap your knees to the floor. And we're coming into our tabletop again. All right. This time it's the right leg that's going to stretch back, holding, and reach the left arm forward. Take a couple breaths here. One more moment. And then lower your hand down and lower the ball of your foot down. Push through your heel. Take a few moments. Good. And then go ahead and bring your left hand to your hip and open up to the left. And again, you can keep that hand to your hip. You might reach it up towards the ceiling. You might wrap it behind your back. One more moment. Good. And then rotate the chest towards the floor. Bring both hands to the floor. We're going to transition in the same way. So you're going to push through that right heel, and then you're going to step your left foot back. Coming into your plank, holding for a few breaths. Knees can always tap down if you need it. And then walk your hands backwards. And as you walk your hands backwards, you could bend your knees a whole bunch if you need to. Soft knees. And then roll yourself up. Good. We're going to do the same thing all over again, just like we were doing at the back of our mat before. You're going to loop your shoulders back and push your hips and pelvis forward, and then roll all the way down. And do it again. Leading with the back of your heart, rolling up, looping shoulders back, and roll your way down. Soft knees, body draping. And do it on your own. A few more times. Finding a rhythm and a flow. And the next time you roll down, here we go, high plank. Walk yourself forward, it'll be the last time. Come into your high plank. And again, you can always drop the knees. Hold for a couple of breaths. And from here, we're going all the way down to the floor. Good. And just take a moment, nestle your belly into the floor, adjust your hands. You can have your chin or your forehead on the floor. Draw your elbows in, loop your shoulders back, and we're going to lift for cobra, and it can be low. So really only lifting as far as you can lift without a big push of your hands. Take a few moments here. And then lower down. And then pushing yourself into a tabletop. And then bringing big toes together and knees apart. And we're going to come into a child's pose. So bow yourself forward. And take a little time here. A few big breaths into the back of the heart. Good, and then come on up into a tabletop. Have your hands slightly forward of your shoulders. Tuck your toes under. And let's lift up and back. Downward facing dog again. Taking a little extra time here to play. And then walking feet forward this time so that you land at the front of your mat. And once you get there, you might take your feet and widen them some and really let the upper body drape down. And there's a little bit of sway or a gentle nodding of the head. Maybe your fingertips rest on a block. And then soften your knees and up just a bit, sorry. Sweep your arms high and wide and come on up. And bring your hands in towards your heart. Good. Step your feet in so that they're side by side, or hips width distance apart. We're just going to do a couple of prayer breaths. You're going to inhale and sweep your arms up. And exhale, draw them right into heart center. Okay. And then again, inhale, sweep your arms high and wide. And exhale, draw them straight in towards your heart. Okay. And the last time, inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, bring them right into heart center. And then once you arrive there, just take a hand to your heart and a hand to your belly. Lower it into the soles of your feet and just take a few moments here. And then relax your arms down. And this would be the time, if you've got some blocks or books or whatever you're going to use for your hands, grab them now. And we're going to take those blocks or books, whatever you're using, and bring them right outside of your ankles. And then bringing hands together at your heart. And inhale, sweep your arms up. And then exhale, do a big swan dive forward. Inhale, the straight legs and a flat back. And then bring your hands to your blocks. You can flip them up high if you need to. And step your left foot back. So you're keeping the knee off the ground for now. Back leg is straight and the front knee is deeply bent. Draw the shoulders back. Push through the back leg. So lots of dynamic energy there. You take a few breaths. Good. And then straighten your front leg and bow in. Reach the heart forward. Press through the back heel. Take another couple moments. Good, and then bend back into your right knee. The left hand is going to seal itself to the block, and you're going to sweep the right arm up. Good. You could also choose to place that right hand on your hip instead. Hold for a couple of breaths here, whichever way you choose. And then rotate your chest back towards the floor and drop your back knee. Good. You can untuck your back toes and then bring your hands towards your hips, coming upright. Good. Take a moment to steady yourself and then sink your hips forward. Good. Holding here, big stretch to the back thigh, front of the left hip, and reach your arms up. Take a few breaths. One more moment here. Maybe there's a little taste of a back bend. And then bring your hands to the blocks. And we're going to sneak our hips back and flex your front foot. So the front leg is straight. The toes are pulling towards your face and you're reaching your heart forward. Take a couple moments here. Hands can always come down to the floor. And then with hands on the blocks, I'm just going to go ahead and slide your right leg back. Good. So you come to hands and knees again. Just going to move the blocks out of the way. We're going to come into a pose called puppy pose. The puppy pose is different than a child's pose. So in a child's pose, we bring our hips back to our heels. And in a puppy pose, you're going to keep this up and down angle of your thighs. So the hips stay stacked over the thighs. You can go ahead and tilt your belly forward. So like you're coming into a cow tilt. Reach the tailbone up towards the ceiling. And then imagine that curvature that you just created in your lower spine is continuing to ripple down or up your spine. Then you walk your arms forward and you sink your chest and your forehead to the floor. If your forehead doesn't easily touch the floor, you can always bring a block underneath your head. And just take a couple moments here. It might feel easier to do this if you open your hands as wide as your mat and then actually hold on to the sides of your mat. So you kind of hold on to the mat and stretch and pull it forward. And lift your elbows and your forearms up off the floor. Take a couple more breaths. Good. And then pressing into your palms, you're going to lift your heart up. So flatten your palms to the floor. And then begin to just roll yourself forward. And come all the way down to the floor. And you can fold your hands underneath your forehead, bend your knees, and just swing your legs from side to side for a moment. Good. And then lower your shins to the floor. Hands come outside of your shoulders. Loop your shoulders back, and we'll come on up into a cobra again. Lifting the heart through the musculature of the back rather than a press of the hands. One more breath. And then lower down. And push yourself back to a table. And we'll push our hips all the way back to a child's pose this time. So just feeling the difference between a child's pose and a puppy pose in our bodies. Take some time here. And then find your way back to your tabletop. Walk your hands forward of your shoulders. Tuck your toes under, and we'll find a downward facing dog again. Lifting up and back. And then begin to walk your feet on up towards your hands. Soft knees, press of the feet, and a big sweep of the arms. And you come right to heart center. Good. Take a big breath in. And then exhale and let it out. Good. We're going to grab our blocks again. So if your blocks were set off to the side, go ahead and grab them and bring them so they're right outside your ankles again. And then bring hands together at your heart. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, bow all the way forward. Inhale, 2 straight legs and a flat back. And then bring your hands to your blocks, and this time it's your right foot stepping back. Step it way back and bend deeply in the front knee. Push through your back heel. See if you can find the energy of that back thigh lifting, very dynamic and active. Heart is lifted, shoulders drawing back. One more breath. And then straighten your front leg. The back foot might hop in just a touch. Few moments here. Good, and then bend deeply into that left knee again. The right hand can come to the floor or a block. You might bring your hands to your hip as you rotate the chest, or you might reach it straight up to the ceiling. Hold for a breath, and then another. Good. Rotate your chest towards the floor, drop your back knee, and come on up. Good. Make sure you've got a stable base so that left foot might walk over just a bit. And you're going to slide your hips forward. And then maybe reach the arms up. A few breaths here. Good, and then bring your hands to your blocks or the floor. And we're going to shift our hips back and flex that front foot. So you reach the heart forward, you bow your way in. Good. And then you just simply, one way or another, slide that left foot back. Good. And we're going to come into our puppy pose again. So you might crawl yourself backwards on your mat a little bit if you were way at the front of it. And starting on all fours, then go ahead and tilt the pelvis forward. And then imagine that curvature continuing vertebra by vertebra all the way up your head. Sink your chest down. Maybe your head is on a block. Maybe you grab hold of each side of the mat and tug it forward to help you stay in the shape. See if you can lift your elbows and your forearms off the floor. Keep those hips stacked over your knees, tailbone tilting towards the ceiling. One more breath. Good. And then come on up, and you'll be in this kind of tabletop shape, but with your arms way ahead of you. And you're going to go ahead and tilt your pelvis forward, softening in the lower back. Keep your arms straight and come into a high cobra or seal pose. Roll the shoulders back. Keep softening the belly. Take a few more breaths here. And then slowly roll your way all the way to the floor. And again, bring hands under the head, bend your knees, hands, slit your legs, swing from side to side. Good. And then extend your legs down. We're going to press right back into a tabletop. So pressing into a tabletop and then revisiting our child's pose to release the lower back. So the big toes coming together, knees opening wide, and bowing down. And then slowly coming upright. And we'll go ahead and come on to our backs. And as you come onto your back, just take a moment to adjust yourself and feel the support of the floor. And draw your knees in towards your belly. Take a little time, rocking side to side. And then lower your feet to the floor. And you're going to pull your left knee in towards your belly without the use of your hands. Just pull your knee in. And then push your foot up towards the ceiling. Holding it there for just a couple of breaths. And then cross your ankle over your right thigh. Just rotating and turning that left knee out. Good. And then take both arms and reach them to the floor behind you. So just like we did in the beginning of class. So you might soften your elbows a little bit if your shoulders are bothering you. You're just reaching and taking up space behind you. And we're going to do a few crunches here. So you're going to lift your right foot off the floor and curl your knee towards your belly as you lift your head and shoulders and reach towards that right foot. And then lower down. Good. And we'll do it 5 more times. So go ahead and lift and squeeze. And lower down. And we'll do it for 4. 3. 2. And 1. Good. And then just bring your hands to your belly for a moment. Good. And then we're going to pick up that right foot one more time. And this time, take hold behind your thigh. And if you can't quite get behind your thigh, maybe you hold on to your ankle or you hold on to your pants. So you don't want to be straining the neck and the shoulders and pulling them way off the floor in order to get behind your thigh. So if that's the case, you'll just hold on to your left ankle or hold on to your pants. That works too. And we'll hang out here for a couple breaths. Good. And then begin to lower the right foot to the floor. Good. Keep that cross of your ankles. Bring your arms out like a T. And then walk your right foot to the right. And let your knees fall down to the left. And if this is bothering your hip or your knee, you can always take a block and bring it right under your thigh or your knee so that your legs don't drop quite as far and you have some support. And then bring the legs back up and uncross your legs. And you're going to stretch your legs long and reach your arms to the floor behind you. And take a few big breaths or a yawn. I'm really genuinely yawning. And take a few more moments here. And then lower your arms and bend your knees. Good. We're going to take that sequence on the other side. So first, with arms by your side, bring your right knee in towards your belly. And then push your foot up towards the ceiling. Flex your foot. Good. Feel that extension behind the leg. And then cross your ankle over your thigh. Good. And you're going to reach your arms straight up along your ears. And we're going to do those crunches. We'll do 6 of them. So bringing everything up and folding in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Lower your foot, bring your hands to your belly. Take a moment there. And then pick up your left foot, squeezing your legs towards you again. And you're going to take hold behind that left thigh. Or if you can't quite get behind your left thigh, you're going to hold on to your ankle or your pants. Take a moment. Few breaths. Maybe you draw the legs in a little bit more. And again, if you feel like you're really straining in the neck and the shoulders in order to hold on behind that thigh, then go ahead and grab the ankle instead. And then lower your left foot down. Now walk your foot over to the left. Bring your arms out like a T and drop your legs down and over to the right. And allow your legs to be heavy. Just depend on gravity to drop your legs down deeper into the stretch rather than pushing or shoving your legs. And again, if this bothers either of your knees or your hip, you can just take a block and bring it somewhere on the outside of your legs. So your legs just aren't dropping down and creating so much pressure. And take another moment. And come on up. And go ahead and uncross your legs and stretch them long again. Reach the arms overhead. Reaching, reaching, reaching. And then pull your knees in towards your belly. And take a few breaths. Good. And then let your feet come down to the floor. Keep your knees bent. And walk your feet out so they're about as wide as the edges of your mat. And then turn your toes in towards one another. And allow your knees and your thighs to knock in against each other. Good. And then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And make an X with your arms and just bend the elbows and give yourself a big hug. And let your fingertips wrap around your shoulders. Maybe your fingertips graze the floor. Take a few moments here. And then remembering which arm is in front, go ahead and inhale, open your arms wide. And as you bring your arms up, cross them in the opposite direction. And bend at the elbows and let your arms drape down. Take a few breaths. And then let your hands relax by your side. Maybe the hands come to rest on your belly. You can come into our final couple minutes of stillness, or called Shavasana, keeping your legs as they are. Maybe you keep your knees bent but have your knees stick up. And maybe you stretch your legs long. So just figuring out how you'd like to close out your class tonight. So we've come to the part of our practice where there's nothing left to do except enjoy the fruits of your labors. So taking a couple moments, about 2 minutes, lying on our back in stillness here. And if you find that your mind has a tendency to drift or wander as you lie in stillness, maybe you keep your hands rooted on your belly so that you feel that rise and fall, that connection to your breath. And you allow your breath to serve as an anchor, keeping you rooted in your body, keeping other thoughts or distractions at bay. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. And begin to find a little bit of movement. So a wiggling side to side. Maybe the hands reach overhead. Take a big stretch or a big yawn once again. And then draw knees in towards your belly. Hands roll off to one side and guide yourself up to a seat. And once you arrive in your seat, take a little time, adjust as you need to so that you can feel like you're sitting with comfort and ease. Take a few final breaths to feel and notice any shifts that have occurred in the body, the heart, the mind. And then bring your hands together at your heart, sealing your practice in. And then we'll close with a deep bow of gratitude to Thunder Mist and everyone that took this class this evening. And just bowing to one another. And thank you very much for spending this hour with me. And again, if you liked the class, these classes are all available on the Thunder Mist